few years, and hopefully our channel's still going in a few years' time, and we're all still
Absolutely.
having fun.
Crypto collector for life.
That's it. That's it. Is the metaverse, right? And this is the start to Web 3.0. And it's just going to be such an amazing, fascinating ride. And yeah, I think it's really cool to try and immerse yourself in it as much as possible. And the thing is that you're not going to know everything, right? I certainly don't. I'm at the moment, I'm lucky enough to kind of be able to look at all this stuff most days, but like I'm still so far behind, right? I mean, you and I know, like, we're up to all hours of night. I mean, you didn't sleep the other night, right? Just looking at and researching things and just understanding things that are happening in space, and we still feel like I'm light years behind knowing stuff. Like, people still say, "Oh, did you check this out? Did you see that? Have you looked at this?" And it's just like, "Oh my god!" Like, it gets to the point where you're just like, "My brain can't handle any more information. I need to
Mm.
stop." I thought crypto was full on, but
That's what I was talking about on the Facebook Live just before we came over here was let's really work as a community. That's the key aspect of Crypto Collective, is it is a collective. Obviously, these Twitch streams are a little bit one way in that we're talking to you and you're
yeah.
watching, but I
I mean, we
also
can get people on too,
I
right? That's
totally invite people on. You know, you might be involved in crypto or NFTs in some way, or even just digital culture in some way. But also, I'm really interested in chatting with people that are really passionate or experts in their own field, and have the question: well, how can actually translate across to being an NFT community, or how can I start to have crypto, even just as a form of purchase? You know, if you have a client, if you're a coach, whatever it is, how can people start to pay you in crypto? And in the SyncDAO, we're talking about SyncDAO as well on Facebook, which is a project that Kev is a part of. He's talking about a really simple social engineering thing that he does, which is simply when he goes to a shop, he asks, "Oh, do you accept crypto?"
yeah,
And that little conversation starts the question. You might be the first one, or you might be the 10th person to ask that,
yeah,
but eventually they'll go, so either they'll say, okay, let's get crypto in because enough people are wanting it, so let's make it happen. Or they might simply go, so what do you even mean? How is that even possible? You know, we're not a tech company. And so
yeah,
just starting that conversation, whatever your particular, and I have clients that have started to ask that simply because they know I'm in crypto. You know, it could have been a project I was doing which has nothing to do with it, but I dropped, you know, that I'm geeking out on the stuff, and then I have people in my DMs going, "Oh, hey, I heard you're in crypto. Can I pay you?" And wasn't even advertising this, but can I pay in crypto? And for
yeah,
me, it's like, oh, thank you. Of course, I would always opt for crypto over fiat.
yeah,
In fact, I almost feel bad. Like, well, don't give me your crypto. Like, spend your
yeah.
government
I
money.
know.
Why would you give me this valuable asset, which is going to be worth so much more in the future? But for some people, maybe they're in a good position. Maybe that's where it's stacked. Maybe it's just a one-off thing that will suit them that week. But
Yeah,
yeah, integrate it. So point being, this station, this channel of Crypto Collective stream is available to anyone to step on. We're going to be going daily lives, so of course we need content, and also I like that I see that as part of my role as a translator, is you know, looking at both worlds, because I've existed for many years in many different industries, usually around entertainment, storytelling, game design, festivals, events, that kind of space.
yeah.
But I do feel that I can usually translate whatever your particular product or service is and start to jam with you. It can be a free consult, you know, jump on on a Twitch stream and we'll go through it with you, and
Oh,
I'll sort of open up my little toolbox as a creative director and see how we can get you on chain.
yeah, 100%. And I think this is so crucial to just the development in the space, right? And that's what we really want to do. Like, we're proud to be, you know, part of the pioneering of this new wave, and what it can bring. And I like to really focus on. I know you're the same, bro. Like, the very much the broader ecosystem. And yes, crypto can bring wealth, and crypto can do other things as well. And but the fascinating part for me is more so just the ecosystem, and just how it's evolving and what it's doing. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I've probably turned down, inadvertently, and kind of sometimes willingly turn down potential profitable aspects to go down a route that's much more, it hits with me, you know what I mean, in my soul. And that's where I feel that, when we say we're going to make it, that all those things that you're doing kind of keep adding to you and start piecing together what you want to do and what you want to achieve. And you know The monetary side that we always talk about with crypto is real and it can happen and things like that. And there's projects that boom, there's projects that bust, and there's coins that go up and there's coins that go down. But don't focus so much. I'm going to reiterate this a million times, and Atlas may get sick of me saying it, but don't focus so much on the US dollar value or the dollar value or the fiat value or the Australian dollar value or whatever dollar value you want to call it of your project slash NFT slash coin, because it just means nothing. It really doesn't mean anything. You're talking about 99% of the time about a deflationary asset in a crypto that has a fixed amount to an inflationary asset, not even an asset, sorry, an inflationary thing like the dollar that just keeps blowing out. So stop. If there's one thing I'd really love to stop in the crypto space in general is reflecting back to the US dollar value of things. Yeah, that's probably my key thing that I really want to help people with in the community. Stop focusing on the dollar so much.
Yeah, and I mean, what would you say? Probably Bitcoin would be a good thing to base things off in
Well,
relation to it.
I always say the native token of what you're doing, right? So if you let's use someone who's got a, let's use your example of your Yetis, right, on Sol. Then or my Soul Snatchers, right? We should be basing it off the Solana value. Like that's on that chain. It's on Solana, so it should be how much Solana something is worth. And then if you've got something like Bored Apes or something else on Ethereum, it's how much Ethereum is that worth, right?
But how
No
would
matter
you?
where.
But what would it be compared to? Because often there is a relational aspect of comparison. If something's going up or down, it's only in relation to something else. Because one soul is worth one soul forever, because it's one
Correct.
soul. But then, what were you pitting it against? Or maybe there's some internal tokens. Maybe on a blockchain there can be,
Yep.
for example, I don't know, Axie Infinity has its AXS and its SLP, so there could be a relation in there. But what would you pit it against to see if something was going up or down in relational comparative value?
Well, my counter question to that would be, why are you investing in a chain that has a coin that you want to pin it against something else? If you don't believe in Solana, why on earth are you buying Solana to buy that project? If you don't believe in Ethereum, why on earth are you buying Ethereum to buy that NFT?
I hear that. I think that my counterpoint to the counter argument to that,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is good, it's a good debate, is that any economy needs fluctuation in order to function, because by nature there needs to be a flow. Otherwise, any organic system, whether it be my body with blood or whether it be an economy with money, food resources, whatever it needs to actually flow from one place to another. And the oscillating nature of the universe is things go up and down. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're opting out. Like I know that one trading kind of method or approach that I use, and I've seen other people use, is keep a lot of projects that you're 100% in long-term bullish on, and you could look at the top 10, or you could look at your particular favorites. You might pick layer 1, layer 2 solutions, metaverse tokens, whatever it is. You're like, yeah, I'm all in on Sand, Mana, Cube, Gala, UFO, whatever it is. And then just kind of swapping between them. So you're not necessarily opting out or trying to get your USD or out of it or anything like that. But I
yep,
think we need the rise and fall simply so that money keeps coming in. If there's never a dip, then when are people going to buy in? And people are always going to have that greed to fear index where sometimes they want to opt out. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have a few different coins you're swapping between. And I think that there's always going to be
yep.
that volatility, which in essence is like those cardio, hospital monitors. It needs to go up and down for there to be life flowing in an economy.
Yeah, totally. And I guess my vision is like for um, you know um, if we use the Ethereum as an example, right, or Solana or whatever you want to use, is that you know like what you said before, is like when you go into a place of business and ask, do you accept crypto? On the 20th time, someone might go, oh yeah, we do actually accept crypto. And it's like, okay, cool. Which cryptos do you accept? And then what is the most renowned crypto that people accept? Overwhelmingly, it's obviously Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, because it's the original crypto and everything like that. So more often than not, similar to what you've been saying, people do what we say is stack Satoshis. So each, eighth decimal or whatever it is classed as a Satoshi of a Bitcoin. So it's kind of like, okay, cool. Well, so people stack Satoshi. Okay, that's fair enough. So I mean, you could always use Bitcoin as the overlying, I guess you could say, comparison.
Totally.
similar to how it is. It's class. I think every month, every year that goes past, it's getting more and more classed as digital gold. So absolutely, I think that's a good kind of metric to use, and it's probably going to be the first cryptocurrency metric that we're going to be able to use because, eventually the idea is that it's going to become more and more stable over time. But that would be great. But I mean, for me personally, I would love a world where a certain chain or a certain you go shopping, I don't know, Coles or Woolworths or whatever, right, and they accept either Ethereum or Solana or Bitcoin or whatever it may be, right? So you're never having to kind of transfer back into it. I mean, you could use Bitcoin as the gold standard, right? So we could go back to pre-1972 when money was actually against gold and was the gold standard. So maybe 50 years down the track where we are now, or 60 years it might be, we can finally go back to how it should be, so people aren't priced out of living through an inflationary asset that they can simply just keep printing more of, whereas Bitcoin has a fixed amount, so you simply can't do that. So I mean, it's not that I'm against that happening, and I'm not against it going against a digital gold like Bitcoin. I just feel that it just really irks at me when people you always refer it back to, what's it's now worth this in US dollars.
Oh, totally. No, 100% agree. Yeah, I think that we need to start. It's a really key mind shift. Otherwise, we always feel like
thing, right? It's conscious, isn't it? So, every time let's consciously, like, sorry, I'll cut you off there, man. So I apologize, but that conscious mind shift of comparing it back to a Satoshi or a Bitcoin, I think would be a good start.
Yeah, and just the habit forming to know what 0.003 Bitcoin is worth. If to feel like if I said $100, you go, oh yeah, it's just a feeling. You don't go, how many cabbages is $100 worth? Oh, that's right. Now I know what it feels like. You just know $100. Oh, I got the feeling. I know I kind of have a feeling of the size and weight of $100. So yeah, getting the similar kind of size and weight of 0. whatever, or maybe it's in Satoshis, maybe it's in Bitcoin, but that'll start to be something that I think becomes a feeling of inherent community value, and you sort of understand how that relates to product and services and things like that. I just wanted to draw our attention briefly to our first time caller. It says first time chat from viewer PK Mendoza. So he's in the house, and he just put a post up here saying thoughts on this, with a link to Goose of Crypto, which is a Twitter video. So I'm going to briefly bring this up. I can share my audio, unless, can you hear what's going on the actual Twitch stream, or do you want me to share my audio through Zoom here?
I can't hear anything, so you might have to share your audio.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. I'm just going to bring it up. And although that might double back on the stream, because then it will be picking itself up. So
yeah, I saw this. Was this is the thing on Solana?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm just gonna play it briefly. I think it's only about 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And then we can chat about it.
Here, Chamath Palihapitiya, and I'm your boy J Cal.
Sax, I gotta say, I think your AUM is positively correlated with the bags under your eyes.
I don't think there's any sound.
If you mean it's getting bigger, you're correct.
I mean, fuck.
They're heavy.
Good lord.
They're heavy, dragging you down.
That's where you're hiding all that Solana, in your fucking under your eyes.
You better clear that Solana position. What's your lockup? 24 months?
Fuck no, he's trying to sell it to me on text message.
Yeah, of course he is.
We're negotiating discounts.
I just had the founder on the
You're
top.
fucking the whole thing up.
Bro, you don't think
I'm hodling.
You think I buy hundreds of millions of dollars of anything without a discount? Everything is a discount.
Everything's discounted. You want to clear that position in an LLC?
Are you saying I got $1 billion of Solana?
No, bro, I'm saying I have one, but I brought it at a discount.
But you're holding, correct?
Ish.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, if you're Chamath Palihapitiya, and I'm your boy J Cal.
Look at that, straight up. The whale wallets are wobbling. So for those of you who want that to be slightly, audio's all good, great. Yeah, for those of you who want that to be briefly translated, apart from the gags about the bags under the eyes, they were kind of joking more about the bags of coins that they're holding, and how big they are, swinging their big bags around, and basically kind of talking about how they are. And I know I'm sharing this because they shared it publicly on Twitter, but they were kind of doing backroom deals about selling each other their big bags of Solana, and also at the end they're talking about how their position's not necessarily stable. For those of you who are not aware of what's been happening in Solana, let me just quickly bring up the trading view on that so we can have a look at what's been going on for it. It's pretty massive. I'll just bring it across here for those of you who can see. So we'll go up to Solana here. Sorry, Troy, this is based on USDT comparison. But yeah, here, let's just go back a bit.
You can even probably put it against Ether, Ethereum, or Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, totally. That'd be interesting we'll do that in a second. But here, this is what it's been going. If you look back early this year, say around August, September, we're down here under $100. And then as you can see, you don't even need to be that statistically astute. It's up only, up, and currently sitting at around 250 USD. But yeah, let's have a look. Let's do that. What should we put it against? Sol versus.
We could do it against Bitcoin.
Solana, Bitcoin.
Like what Big Kev just said. Big Kev just said he just wanted to highlight how for people with big bags, like billionaires, they treat this with an air of fun. It's not serious. So whatever you get into, don't bet the house on it.
Okay, nice. Yep. And even having a look, this is Solana to BTC. So you can actually see there, wow, look at that, just as much and up. And then it has been going down. This is probably around the time that Bitcoin was starting to get some gains. But even now, recently, look at that. So it's all in the green at the moment. So yeah, I totally hear what you say about the fun. And also, I think it's so important to realize that this market is not necessarily, two things. It's not a natural occurrence whether things go up or down. It is a lot about the psychology of people FOMOing in, or sure, there's some fundamentals about the technology that's based on the utility when certain things start to function. But even if you look at things like Cardano, which had their smart contracts launched just only recently, that didn't do anything for the value of the coin itself. So it's not always necessarily.
What was that?
No, yeah.
We can beep it out later, can't we?
No.
I said because of the piece of shit. I shouldn't have said that. But look, there's a lot of people who have money on Cardano. I'm just not a big fan. But that's just my personal opinion and not financial advice.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've all got our favorites and what we're into. But I think that, just realizing that there are traditional financial investors who are coming into the space now. And this is their playing field, for us, you go.
Oh, I said totally. This is just they're scooping the icing off the top. This is just their play money they're playing with.
Yeah, and so they are doing, as you can see, people like that can really shift the marketplace. If they've got, as they're joking about, their $1 billion or more in Solana, if they want to dip it, can you imagine $1 billion worth of Solana suddenly being sold? Like it's gonna affect the thing. So yeah, don't get caught up on just the up only kind of mentality. Don't buy at the height. It's obviously the basic kind of proverb of trading to be buy red, sell green. So now we're definitely in the green on Solana, but also just to see a few of those conversations happening and go, okay, this could change very quickly. So as Troy was saying as well, get into project that you like the technology of, that you're going to use, and you understand the value. So even if it does drop down, if you're not trading out, you're not losing. It's not like Sol is going to be taken from your wallet. You're still going to have 10 Sol, 20 Sol, whatever it is. Just it's not got the relative value to whatever you're pegging it against, but it still functions in the ecosystem of that particular blockchain.
Absolutely, and that's really is key to what's going on here and where people lose and where I've lost in the past. Right, I've learned from my mistakes. Learn from what we do as well, like in the past, and that is, you're trying to catch up. Like you might have bought it at a certain price, and now the US dollar is telling you it's half that price. But it's like it never stays like that. Markets go up, markets go down, unless you desperately need to put food on the table, or you were investing, like what we always say, you're investing with money that you should not have invested with because that was next week's rent money or whatever it may be. Well, then that that's on your head, right? That's why you're going to lose. But if you're investing with money that is speculative, and you understand the speculative nature for it, then that's totally fine, and do that, and just go with the ride. Like, it goes up, it goes down. Yes, you're going to get emotionally attached to things. Yes, you are going to have, I call it, we have a degen bag, right? And we joked about it before. I've got a degen bag, probably a little bit bigger than what it should be, in Soul Snatchers, because I'm emotionally invested, and I know I shouldn't be emotionally invested in something, but I really, really love the art, and I really love the community, and I really love the way that it's been created. So I'm kind of like, that's my degen money, right? But it's not that all my money is degen money. I've got to be semi-responsible and have other things in other buckets. And this is what we talk about having our portfolio for different types of buckets. It's okay to gamble on some things, all right, and have a bit of fun, but you've also got to, not go crazy. And it's different if you're a single bloke living by yourself, or I don't know, you mightn't have any loans or no money owing to people or whatever. Have fun, do what you want to do, but just be responsible, and understand things go up and down.
I think also absolutely so important to be there for the long ride, and also at the same time, I think that we can reassess what we see as essential. I think often we think of our expendable income as a certain portion of our income without actually inspecting what we're spending money on. We could be wasting all kinds of things on, like automatic subscriptions to whatever online services, to that unnecessary, I don't know, special $2,000 car wax blah blah process you want to do on the thing. And so it's really all a choice. And I think that for me, one of the things I've been really recently doing is going back to zero and going every single expense. Is there any automatic payments I'm not aware of? Are there any unnecessary objects in the IRL that I don't really need? And to reassess, because sometimes it doesn't seem like such a sacrifice until you get a passion like crypto and you go, oh my god, that was like an ETH, that could have been an ETH, you know. And so yeah, that's kind of always really good as well, because you might actually have a lot more expendable income than you think if you start to reassess the quote unquote essentials. Is it really essential to have that particular? I was looking just yesterday, my son's moving into this house, and I'm getting a shelf for him just to put his comics on and other things like that. And I was looking at just my app, these like whatever apps you can buy online with lockdown, and they were over $1,000 for a shelf, like $1,700 for a shelf. And that would be easy enough to do, especially with these like pay as you go, Afterpay apps. You go, oh yeah, cool, I'll pay like, $50 now and I'll pay it off over blah. It's too easy to waste money. So yeah, that's just another little finance tip, is question what's essential.
Yeah. And it's a really good time to reflect back on those things and just go over and just be like, what is essential in your life and what isn't. And, we sound like financial advisors now, but it's true. I mean, what are your passions and what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think it's also not about being financial advisors, because we're just sort of reflecting on what we're doing. But I think more so than anything, it's shifting. I was having dinner at my parents' place, and shout out to my dad. It was his birthday yesterday. He turned 78. And so, yeah, big love to you, Dad. Keep going. And we were talking about the difference in expectations on, I wouldn't say intelligence, I would say education or familiarity with things. And in their generation, you weren't expected, because we were talking about crypto, of course, and because they know I'm into it, and I was talking about what's happening with crypto collective and everything. And then they were saying, oh, wow, you'll be able to talk to some of our other blah, blah friends about stock market and things like that. Because just by getting into crypto, I didn't come for the money. I came for the JPEG, stayed for the money. I came for the, actually, that's not true. I didn't come for the JPEGs. I came for the technology, and I came for the community, the culture. I really like cypherpunk, which is not cyberpunk, by the way. If you look at the origins of this whole crypto space, it's based on cypherpunks, these people who are into cryptography and all that kind of stuff. So I love listening to audio books about the hackers who started this whole thing. So that's kind of my geek entry point. And then the money is just like a bonus on top. But because of that, I've actually been more interested in economics. I'm starting to listen to audiobooks about traditional trading and that sort of stuff. I'm looking at charts which actually go directly across to traditional stocks and bonds and things like that. So it's definitely acquainted me with that whole thing. And my parents are not across that at all. And I just realized, I think there's a different expectation of an informed sovereign citizen these days, and so it's not about being a financial advisor. For me, it's just being a citizen of modern day cynical earth, where we know all the corruption. Hopefully we're aware of what, mainstream big banks and reserve banks are doing, the hyperinflation that's happening, the irresponsible way that economists and politicians have been using this, and also, in my opinion, the way it's been used as a subjugation tool to make other lesser third world countries sort of be lapdogs, because they can manipulate them and put them in debt and use it in all these kind of ways. So with all that particular, maybe conspiracy theory, maybe just cynical look at adult life, I think it behooves us as adults to understand these things, to have a little bit of financial nous. So it's not about being a financial advisor in my case, it's about being an informed citizen. And then let's do it as a collective and start understanding our finances, start understanding our body health and digestion and diet. You don't have to be a doctor to do that. I think this kind of expertise mind frame really makes it like out of bounds. It's like, oh, don't know what's happening with your money, ask your financial advisor, or your worst case, your politician. Don't know what's happening with your body, just ask your doctor. Don't know what's happening with this, ask the other person. And we sort of outsource all of our responsibility. Whereas I really like to be an informed citizen, and all of these kind of financial things, like looking at essentials, having these buckets. Like I know that in Crypto Collective, they talk about, the HODL bucket, the trade bucket, the fun bucket. This is just about being responsible and starting to be put on your big boy pants or big girl pants and participate, and don't just have that sort of more didactic, follow the leader kind of mindset.
Totally, yeah. And that's honestly the only way you can do this. Otherwise, yeah, mentally you just get smashed because you're just not focused enough on what you're doing. And I'll put my hand up and say I was very much like that at first, and it took me a long time to get my head around it and totally understand that, this is, at the same time, you need to have buckets, and at the same time, where you want to make money, you've got to understand that in another bucket, if it's a certain thing, there's a good chance that you may not make as much money or may lose money, right? That just wasn't a concept to me when I first started, because when I first got into crypto, all I heard about was all these people making so much money. So, the reason why I got into crypto first was actually for the wrong reasons, which was trying to make a quick buck. And then what happens every single time you try to make a quick buck, I did make some, but then I lost some as well. And it was pretty much a even experience of winning and losing, and it ends up just being gambling then, right? It's no different to when you go put a bet on, or where you put a lottery ticket on, right? You either win or you lose. Yeah, it just ends up becoming that. So then I found this whole other aspect to it, right? And then that really connected and vibed with me, and then we got from there. But
and I think it's always going to be there. That other aspect's always going to be there, of having a middle person between people and the blockchain space, and that's fine. There will be, for example, the Bitcoin ETF came out, so hedge funds can now go on without being exposed to the volatility by necessarily holding Bitcoin. I can imagine these older generation billionaires who would be confused by MetaMask and signing the wrong contract, and they want that protection layer. And also maybe retail investors, or even just mom and pop, whoever, might want a simpler interface. For example, the difference between MetaMask and Phantom is a good example. The Phantom wallet is just so much easier to use. It's so much cleaner, so much, it's obviously cheaper with the gas fees. But those kind of interfaces are going to be appealing to a certain type of user. I think there will always be those people that don't want to hold their own buckets and don't want to be a financial advisor. They literally just want to, set and forget. And that's totally cool as well. I guess the mind frame that I come from, and I think that we're cultivating in Crypto Collective, is the other side of the line, of people that want to hold their own buckets, take responsibility for their own money, not pay a middleman in any kind of way, and actually co-create the space. But yeah, for sure, we don't all have to be worrying about this if we don't want to. But those who do, I think, will benefit, because we actually start to be. That's what DeFi is all about: being our own bank.
Totally, 100%, and I mean, at the same time, like we can only, as we've said before, we can only kind of share our own personal experiences and what we've noticed. But one thing that I'll definitely say is that some things we may say one week, it may change to a different week, because this space just goes so quickly and moves so fast. So don't go look back on one of these videos in 3 months' time and go, yeah, but Troy and Atlas said this. It's like, yeah, we updated it a month later because we found out that, because that's just how it is. This is the game. This is a game where unless you want to be a full passive rider, like what you said before, and you're happy with just parking some money and literally walking away for a year and not checking anything and then coming back, this is a game where you really need to stay up to date as much as possible if you want to take full advantage of the space, because it's the only way. Like Atlas and I spend a lot of time every day in this space, and like, I don't know about you, man, but I still feel like I'm miles behind, like, knowing stuff.
Totally, you've got to specialize. That's what I really found in the beginning. I was running around so excited. Speaking of running around, I actually have to jump off in 2 minutes because I have another call scheduled. But in the last couple of minutes to wrap up, I really like this idea of specialization. Become an expert. You'll always have a general, like my charts. I try to keep across a number of the key technologies I'm interested in, but I'm really sort of honing in on NFTs, gaming, and metaverse, because that's kind of my background. My artistic, creative game designer side is going to thrive in that space, and I can legitimately add to it. That's the thing. I can contribute. If I'm going to be joining whatever other more tech sort of space, I'm a very baby coder. I'm not really going to be able to be a great dev addition, but through creativity and community building and storytelling and world building, I know I can actually make a difference to the space. So that's definitely my approach, is to specialize, find out there are technologies, and let's have maybe another stream we can talk about that, is what are the different groupings of technologies? What are the different areas? Is it DeFi? Is it NFT? Is it maybe onboarding old world finance? Is it communication? There's a lot of mobile coins that are helping with communications around the place. So you might have a particular social objective or community passion, and just find out which technologies are going to serve that arena, and really just get involved in that space.
Totally, man. Yeah, absolutely. I concur. I second everything Atlas just said. I'll let you go, bro. I don't want to hold you up because I know you got to get off. I've got to jump off in a sec too, but thanks everyone for joining us. Yeah,
thanks PK Mendoza for your questions. For those of you who watch the replay, we'll be going daily live. And like I said before, just to extend that invitation to close, if you're interested, let's have a chat. It's a great place for us to give free content, free consultations, no financial advice, but giving the benefit of our experience in our different areas, and also hopefully adds good quality content to this community channel. Hopefully see you guys in Discord for Crypto Collective, and we'll continue the conversation there.
See you guys.
See you.
See you, bro.
Bye.